11 hours flying time at the RAF at Dublin. It was on a weather pattern reconnaissance mission between Reykjavik in Iceland and Bordeaux in France. Went up off the northwest coast of Ireland and encountered a ship. War being war, it attacked the ship returned fire, and all the navigation equipment on the German plane got destroyed. They escaped on the western seaboard of Ireland above the clouds, and unknowingly they wrote here on Brandon Bay when they wanted to establish exactly where they were. So they came down through the clouds. But the cloud now had turned into fog, and their descent was being almost endless until about 300 meters above sea level. A gap came in the fog, and they saw the wonderful beach we've over here called Fermoil, Kilcummin, and Gowron. We're over land, this says, but they still didn't know where they were, and they were back into the fog again. And they flew from out there over our village, hitting straight from Mount Brandon that was also shrouded in fog. And as this enormous plane approached the mountain, the four engines were struggling to maintain elevation, and the commander sensed there was something up ahead. So he ordered bank right, and they did. They turned and they banked right, and they crashed off the slope of Mount Brandon. But the crash actually turned into a belly landing, where it landed on its undercarriage, and all 6 German crew members survived. So here we have a neutral country, the beginning of the Second World War, the very first 6 Germans. Now, what are we going to do to maintain our neutrality? All right, lads, we can't send you back to Germany because that would be still helping the Germans. If we had you over to the Allies, you know what, they wouldn't appreciate another 6 months and a half. And we'd probably take better care of you over here than they will over there anyway. And that's exactly what we did. And they were kept in the Cloghane County up outside of Dublin for the duration of war. Overall, with about 300 internees during the Second World War, but the very first 6 came off on Brandon. As soon as our authorities established that these guys were neither a threat to our neutrality or to our sovereignty, they left out to go working in local farms and local businesses. Some even went to university. And during their 5-year stay here, 2 of our 6 Germans died. And they married. And when the war was over, the commander and his Irish wife went back to Germany. The radio officer and his Irish wife remained here in Ireland, where they lived a very long and a very happy life, because the plane crash occurred in August of 1940. Kurt Kite, the radio officer from the plane that crashed up here, left our world as we know it. Was at the end of August 2010, 70 plus years after the crash. And one time I was flying to New York with Aer Lingus, the Irish airline, and the captain comes on and welcomes us on board. And as he was signing off, I wish you a pleasant flight. I am your captain, Wolfgang Kike, the son of the guy who crashed the plane up here, but he's way bigger than his dad because the plane came down very close to the airport. Anyway, that was the first plane. We have 3 more planes after this one. The second plane crash occurred on the 28th of July 1943. This was a BOC Sunderland flying board passenger plane that landed at Cloghane War. And this was flying between Lisbon and Portugal and Foynes up in County Limerick and the River Shannon. Foynes at the time was the main transatlantic hub between the United States and Europe. This plane was up here in the shadows of Mount Brandon at 4:30 in the morning when they realized they made a mistake in the navigation. They tried to make a corrective maneuver, but the wind clipped the side of the mountain and the plane went down with 25 people. 15 survived. And at 4:30 in the morning, our local people went up to bring down the unit. Then they went up and they brought down the gate. And then they went back up again for the very precious cargo that this plane was carrying. Because this plane was carrying the very, very first letters written by POWs up in Java in the Far East. Prisoners of the Japanese incarcerated out in Java wrote these letters on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day of 42. Here they were stood in our moment in July 43. With a plane crash, everything scattered everywhere. So not all letters were saved, but as many as possible were, so not their families who would have moved to their loved ones. And back in 2014, one of those letter writers came back here to say thank you to the lady who, as a young girl, helped her dad put this man's uncle's liver back together and send none of his family over in Wigan. Less than a month after this plane crash, with another plane crash, and this is also a flight. This is an RAF Sunderland with 11 people on board. 3 died and 3 survived. And then in December of 43, with a 3rd plane crash in 5 months, or 4th overall. This is an RAF Wellington with 6 Polish crew members. This is considered the saddest of the 4 plane crashes because the 6 Polish crew members were on this flight, survived the crash, and they got out of the fuselage. But the munitions in the plane exploded, and they were killed right there inside. I can't change my life, I can tell you what. Anyway, just to give you a bit of a history, we have here down there up in the ceiling is a piece of a German plane. On the window down there, the tail wheel, out of the screen is one of the engines, and on the down there is the manifold. The second plane I spoke about was a flying boat that landed, took off on water. It was never going to fly or float again. So the anchor is right here and the window right here. But nothing ever happens around here otherwise. But if you think about it, right? If you think about it and you calculate the numbers of the survivors of the plane crash, it's quite a great place to have a crash because there was a 50% survival rate.
Well,